Yo,
What up? What up?
Ooh, what's poppin'? I haven't done that one in a minute, right? What's going on, bro?
We back. Listen,
go,
man. Your boy was struggling the last week.
Same. Bro, I needed a drink. So I was sodomized earlier today with like no lube or nothing, not a hair, like, you know, they didn't like brush my hair, nothing. So I needed a drink real bad because I need to loosen up. I don't even think I had a chance to tell you about that.
Bro, I fucking stopped working today, like around 6 or 6:30. And I walk out of my working area. I work from home. And my wife looks at me and goes, "Why are you so happy?" Oh, I know why. Today's podcast.
Should have changed your whole mood, man. I know why. You goddamn right.
That's right.
Let's go.
I didn't even realize I had a smile on my face.
You just walking around like happy for no reason. Remembering what you used to look like.
And goddamn it, I know I wasn't smiling. So it must have been something else.
That's awesome.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Common Footman Podcast. He is Juan and I'm Sean, and every week we get together, have a few drinks, talk about things going on in the world, try to focus on things making an impact, whether they be good, bad, or otherwise. Hit him with a drink of the day.
Listen, man, I'm giddy this week, man. We got unbeknownst to me, man, we had one of my staples, one of my day-to-days, the Grumpy Old Man, which is a shot of whiskey, bourbon, you know, whatever your sort of preferences. But this is a Chattanooga whiskey that is 111 proof. It's straight bourbon, the cask. So 111 proof. So this will fuck
yeah, be careful.
Yeah. This
what you are seeing on the camera on my side is pretty much 70, probably 90% ginger ale.
Ginger and lime juice.
And a squeeze of lime, because I done had two of these and it's enough.
Dude, this and you know how much I love me some whiskey ginger ale. So this is a take on that. But yeah, shout out Chattanooga whiskey, man. This is really good. It's the first time I'm having this, man. So it's awesome. And I also, whenever you do ginger ale whiskey, I really love like the stronger and the higher proof whiskeys. Because I feel like ginger ale is already such a, like ginger in general, it's such a strong, dominant flavor. Yeah. Yep. And I think you need a whiskey like that for it to stand out. So highball glass full of ice, a shot of the whiskey, top off with ginger ale and an ounce of lime juice, stir it in there, drop in the lime wedge. And that's it. Simple, basic, straight to the point. You can do this with a lot of different whiskeys and ginger ales, but again, the higher the proof. Definitely try this Chattanooga whiskey out. It's good. It's first time having it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm definitely gonna add this one to the rotation.
And if you can find the Fever Tree ginger ale.
Oh yeah, good point.
It's different.
Great point, man. Yeah. Fever Tree never lets us down on any of the chases. Yeah, but the ginger ale, it's not all created equal, people.
It really isn't. I mean, we've had that. We've had the ginger beer. We've done the elderflower tonics and Fever Tree. It's a little more pricey, but definitely worth it.
Yeah, I always say, man, if your mixer is like 70% of your drink, just don't pick the store brand whatever mixer like the tonic and
right. You can get the store brand for like 99 cents for like a quart.
Yeah, there's a reason why.
But yeah, that's right.
There's a reason why. But even it's funny, man. I'll there's like Canada Dry and then the Schweppes or whatever, or Schweppes, whatever you want to call it. And even then, I'm picky about which one I pick of those. But then Fever Tree just has its own. It's in a class of its own, man. Fever Tree is such a. I could get a 2 liter for $1 of a Canada Dry, or you could get a little 6-pack of Fever Tree for $7.
For $7.
And I will pick the Fever Tree every time, man.
Every time, man.
It's so good. It's so good. I feel like it's the way ginger beer was supposed to taste. And Fever Tree does a good job with all their shit. So shout out to them. But yeah, make this, man. The Grumpy Old Man. This is one of my staples. This is how I learned how to drink alcohol. Was ginger ale and Jack Daniels.
Really?
Was my go-to. Yep. One of my uncles put me onto that shit when I was way too young to drink. And I've been drinking it ever since. I don't think I had a bald hair and I was drinking that. So shout out to my uncle. You created a degenerate very early on.
Shout out, uncle.
But we had a good time. But I love ginger ale, man. With whiskey, bourbon, and all of it. And yeah, this is such a good mix. Like I could go high proof or something with a really bold flavor, and you can't go wrong.
Absolutely. All right, man. And in keeping with the theme of the grumpy old man, your boy,
let's go,
is turning 50.
Woo!
In a few days.
Let's go.
I'm under a week, about 5 days away from turning 50, man, and just wanted to talk about that milestone, man. That milestone is just like, it's one of those things that you go when you're young and you go 50 seems so old.
Oh my God, bro! It seemed like you were dead. You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, also my family didn't take care of themselves.
Because people were dying.
People were dying. But 50 now is, it's like the new 35. Like it's just like it doesn't feel as daunting as it did. But I remember as a kid, 50, you were looking at people who were like falling apart.
Yeah,
and
man.
Decrepit and and obviously that's not the case.
And listen, man, go look on Facebook and look at your high school friends, and some of them are falling apart.
Listen, I've seen some of my high school friends in their mid 30s, and I'm 37, so they're all 37 or 38, and they look fucked up.
But no, man, like couple of things, like for me, and just kind of like in retrospect, man, and I did this when I was 40, so like about a month before I turned 50, I'm going like, I want to be back down to what I refer to as fight weight. So I'm doing the shred diet by Dr. Ian Smith.
Yep, Ian
right?
Smith. Yeah.
Ian
K. Smith.
Yeah, so he has a book out. He does shred and super shred. So I'm doing the shred diet. I want to get down to like my like 205 is what I consider like my fight weight. But some of the things that I've done over the years, man, is like working out, bro. Like that shit is primo fucking number one thing that I can look at and go, that has sort of kept me young. That has been like my fountain of youth. I'm not like a extraordinary fucking big dude or whatever, man, but keeping that weight, lifting that, trying to lift heavy weight and keeping that weight on your bones, like that shit has worked for me. And testament to like, matter of fact, like several months ago, man, I was sick.
I remember you took some time off.
And I took like 2 weeks off. And then when I went during those 2 weeks, I was feeling like aches in my knees and my elbows and in places I'm just like, what the fuck's going on my back? And it was like, the moment I went back, I shouldn't say the moment, but I went back for like a week and then I was back into my groove, all gone. Like all of it. All of it's fucking gone.
Dude, I remember us talking about that. That's got to feel so reassuring because it's easy to get complacent, or not even complacent, but just I think take for granted the fact because you've always done it, you don't realize the benefit that you're getting out of it until it's taken away from you. And in some ways, it was a good thing that you got that sort of
reminder. You get the reminder, bro.
Like, oh, I'm not doing this in vain. Like, it's actually mattering. It's keeping me healthy. It's keeping me pain-free. It's keeping me, So I remember you, at the time, it was like, yo, this sucks. But, like, it's a good reminder of, like, this is why I stay the course. Kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, absolutely, man. The other thing is, like work, right? Like, I'm doing what I really like doing, like the line of work that I'm in, and I do like IT work. I really enjoy it, and it was cool because this week at work I got like this award, and that's given to like somebody, like one person in the corporate office per like quarter, and it's like the Be Iconic Award, and so that was presented to me this week. So it's one of those things, man, where you know how you watch people over the years, like. You watch people win awards for, whatever it is. And you look at those people and you go like, oh, yeah, that person's awesome. And that person, blah, blah. But you never think of it as yourself. Yeah. And it's one of those things where you go like, oh, shit, man. Like somebody put me in for this and it was voted on by whether it's peers or management or whatever. But especially for me, man, because I work remote. So I'm not even in the office.
You got to work extra hard to get noticed,
right? So
you also. I would say you were also, obviously some of these people have some face-to-face experience with you, but over time it's transitioned so long that the bulk of the people you're interacting with now don't.
Right? Yeah, like I haven't spent a lot of time with those people.
Yeah, so it's cool to see that even like, again, as someone who's worked with you, like I knew the relationship you had with people and the amount of respect that they had with you, and it's really cool to see like even the people now who haven't had as much time or maybe even face-to-face time, and again, the work speaks for itself, right? Like the work ethic, the work, the results, the demeanor, the disposition, all that, like it speaks for itself. Like you get people who you don't deal with day to day who still have that level of respect and admiration. It's awesome, man. Yeah. You told me that, I wasn't even surprised. I'm like when you were just telling me that, before. It's like, of course you did. You know what I mean? Like I'm like,
see, it's funny, man. Like I don't see, like I know that I work hard, and I know that, like I know all of those things, man. But like I always look at other people and go like, oh man, that person.
Yeah.
Like that person. Like I always have people around me that I've always been able to look at and go like, oh yeah, like that's what I'm striving for that. Or I'm striving for that. Or I need to know what that person knows. Or I need to know what that, like I've always been looking at people like that. And then what I have noticed though, man, because I started to bring in, you know, they're bringing in, you know, we hire new people or whatever. And, you know, it's one of those things, you know, when you realize like, fuck, like I know a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where you sit in the room and you talk to people and you go and you explain stuff and then somebody goes, how the fuck do you know all that? Yeah. Like, or like, is all that in your head?
Dude, I think we can get caught up in the imposter syndrome in whatever level of life. And so you don't realize how good you really are at something.
Yeah.
Because it feels so normal to you that you're like, no, everybody knows this, but you don't realize that everybody doesn't know you're like this subject matter expert who's really good at this thing. And I think we all get caught up in this trap of thinking that. But yeah, I'd say you especially, you've been doing what you're doing for so long and at such a high level at a, you know, I would say the major leagues, right, of the industry that you're doing it for, that it's easy to take that for granted because you're just kind of like, of course I know that. You know what I mean? But it's not normal, bro.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah, it's not normal, bro. It's like shooting a free throw for the Knicks. So you're like, of course I can hit a free throw. But it's like, no, man, like you're at this level for a reason for this long. I mean, you've been, 16 years?
No, 20 years. Or in the field, like 20 years, man.
Yeah, and then where you are now,
that's almost
16, 17. Yeah,
almost 17.
Yeah, bro. You don't get to that by accident, bro. Like, yeah. Even as, you know, I haven't worked with you in 7 years now, 6 years. Like, you know, we obviously, we worked together for a long time. And I always remember feeling like, oh yeah, I'll go, you know, if I needed the answer to your particular subject area or whatever, I would always go to you because I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna know it. Like there's and not only that, man, I could tell you, even if it was something that you didn't know about, there's a demeanor and a calmness and a practical, like even if it was something related to like my side of the business where I could go to you and I feel like you would check me just from a professional standpoint.
Okay.
That I think is lost on a lot of people that, again, man, and you know, we've known each other so long. You know, I wasn't even old enough to drink when we met. And you know, it's hilarious we do a pod now with this. But I'm almost 40, and we've been doing this for, you know, again, I couldn't even have a drink when we met. And so, like, there's so much that over time that I've learned from you both personally and professionally. But a lot of that stuff was, you know, obviously being prepared and having your shit together. Like, you walked into a meeting, you were never the guy who was going to go like, I don't know. And if you didn't know, it was because something truly caught you off guard and you're like, I'll figure that out, like, and I'll come back. You didn't like bullshit your way through it. But it's also, you know, like, I learned a lot from you on the personal side of just how to go about certain things. And you've always had like discipline. Like I always tell people, like, you're the most disciplined human being I've ever met in my life.
I don't know why you say that.
And I know you think that, but it's like, but even like talking about the diet and like, I would have never done that had we not done it together the first go.
Oh, right.
And because you were doing it, I was like, well, fuck, I can't not follow through, right? And so there's shit like that where you just don't realize like that little impact you have on people. And because it's normal to you, because it's how you carry yourself, and you know, like none of us are perfect human beings, but you just go, there's still some shit that we can all pick up and learn from each other, do all that stuff, man.
Absolutely.
So like, yeah, I do it. And I still can't believe you're fucking gonna hit 50 because you're in better shape than I will ever be probably. And it's hilarious because I'd be lying if I didn't say I don't look to you and go like, I'm a couple of years away from 40, 2-3 years away from 40, and I go, I want to be in the best shape of my life by 40 and then in the next decade kind of thing. and definitely looking at you going, this motherfucker is in good shape and he's about to be 50, plays a part of that. So fuck you for making me lift weights.
You welcome. You know what's funny, man, is that I kind of always look like 10 years out, and I go, even now I'm going, all right, so like, what do I want to be at 60? Which is crazy because the 60 seems fucking ancient to me.
Dude, 50 seemed ancient. When I was a kid, looking at people in my family who barely made it into their 50s, like legitimately, not an exaggeration, legitimately dying and or just completely falling apart, where you go, oh, they're gone in the next 5 years. By 50, early 50s, very common in my family. And now this next sort of wave has changed that.
Yeah.
But I would say a decade ago, the 50-year-olds in my family, I'm like, oh, fuck, they're on their final, because they didn't take care of themselves, because they didn't,
right.
They didn't have the discipline for the diet and everything else, and it at 50 did seem old at a point in time, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting closer, obviously as well, where I'm like, no, these guys are still young, but
no, man,
I think there's definitely something to be said.
50 was old.
50 was old,
day,
yeah,
man. Yeah, it really was, and so like to know that, like, I'm going to be there in a few days, and like to feel the way that I feel. And then also, man, like the last piece of this is like family, like to look at the kids that I'm still raising, to look at them and how they're progressing. Like I'm really happy with the way, or with the humans that they are becoming. And the job that my wife and I have done with them has just been phenomenal, man. And so, like, I just couldn't, if somebody would have showed me, my life, I think at 20, and been like, oh, at 50, this is where you're gonna be, you want to sign up or not, I would have said yes.
Good, and you can't ask for a whole lot more than that. And that's never to say that your life is perfect. And
no, absolutely not, bro. No, absolutely not.
But you go, man, if you could, like you said, put your life up on a board and go 10 years from now, I'm this, and this, and you hit that, like, of course we would pick that, man. Like it's a testament again to the work you've put in, both professionally and personally and all that. And as someone, obviously I spent a lot of time with you, but then recently haven't spent time with your boys, and then and I think I told you, like, just being not in shock that they're cool hangs, but just like the young men that they grew up to. I think in a lot of shock of obviously remembering these little boys and to seeing them be young men now, but also, like I think as a parent too, like you hope that your kids can be good people, right, before anything, right? Like I don't care what my kids decide to do for a living, or how much money they make or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna be successful.
Yeah, but I want them to be good human beings. And yeah, man. And then spending time with your boys and the conversation, you're like, yeah, man, like you did.
They're on the right track.
You're on the right track. Yeah. And so for sure, man. Like you've, I would say that you've checked all the boxes, that you're supposed to, and a lot of life left to live. So
yeah, man,
you're halfway there, hopefully, right? Fuck, you should live to 200, man. If Elon and all these other guys get their shit together, we'll be doing this pod. It'll be like episode 14,758. Our conscience is loaded into a robot or some shit.
Yeah, man. I said don't know how long I'm gonna live, man, but feeling great
keep at it, man.
At 50, and like I said, looking forward to the next 10. I take it 10 at a time.
Yeah, dude, and man, I would say,
remember at 40?
I do, man. We partied at 40. We had a great time at 40. Right at about 10 years ago today.
Yep.
We went to that Mayweather fight. It was a good time, man. And dude, and I will say, like, aside from the obviously like the personal accomplishments and all that stuff that you've had,
yep,
I think how people talk about you. And I'll tell you this all the time, like whether it's like family members of mine or friends or people that we've worked with or whatever, like how they speak about you. Again, it's just a testament to like the kind of person you are. But then also, like for me, from a personal level, I just go, man, the shit that I've been able to share with you, or the conversations we've been able to have over the years that I wouldn't have been able to have with anybody else in my life. Like whether it's like happy moments, whether it's sad moments, whether it's like, you know, sleaze bag moment, like whatever it is, like moments where I wasn't necessarily proud of myself, or moments where I needed someone to like prep me up, or maybe you were feeling like a certain way. Like, I think having that relationship with someone, or us being able to talk about stuff, goes a long way for people. And so I think the other thing that people should get out of, like, how you've lived and just done shit so far, it's like, man, find people who understand you and don't judge you and just let you fucking have a drink and say the wildest shit that's on top. You know, because I've said some shit to you that I'm like, yeah, I'd be in jail. You know what I mean? Like, or just people would look at me very, very differently, and I've never once felt like maybe I shouldn't have said that. You know what I mean? And so for the friendship and you know, everything you provided along the way, like shout out to you, man. Like, fucking 50 more, bro.
Cheers, brother. Cheers, man.
Cheers.
But yo, to that, like, to what you just said, of finding somebody that you can, you know, say that the craziest shit to. Like, I don't think there's never been a moment that you've told me some shit where I've said, oh, this dude has gone off the fucking deep end.
Which is saying a lot.
No, because I think that even in your like wildest moments, I've always been able to go, yep, I get it. Maybe I would have had more restraint, but I get it.
My shit is like, what was Sean doing in this moment? Then I'm like, nah, that's too tame.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, man.
You never told me anything, man, that's been so like, you know, again, and it's my.
I don't know if that says more about you or
yeah, right, exactly. I mean, even my wife says all the time, she's just like, you know, almost like in disgust. Oh, you guys are just the same. So no, it's true. Like you and I, we just understand each other.
Yeah, dude, I literally can't remember a single time in my life where I either hesitated to tell you something or told you something and went, I really wish I would have said something. And dude, I think everybody needs a person like that in their life. You know, like whether it's your spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Like whatever they are, just your friend. But like,
cousin.
There's shit you have to be able to say out loud, and someone just look at you and go, yeah, you're wild, but I get it. Like the amount of time that I start a story with, bro, I know I'm kind of crazy, and you'll be like, yeah, but I get it. Yep. I'm like, all right, cool.
And we like, oh, I'm glad I wasn't in that situation.
I feel a little
I would
less
do the
alone.
same thing.
Like, I didn't want to have to make that call. That's dope, man. So Monday, Tuesday, the big day. Monday.
So we are recording what, on the Wednesday?
Wednesday. So next week we gotta go ham on the pod, bro. We gotta have like a real celebration for the. Oh fuck!
I just thought of something that we probably shouldn't do.
I was literally just thinking on the top of my head. I'm like, I got some ideas, but I don't think they're gonna pass. I think we're gonna edit down the pod.
I won't make it home.
Yo. Bro, the whole YouTube video is gonna be yo, and then it just cuts off, and then it picks back up with tell us where they can find us. It's like, oh man, the amount of shit, man. Fucking A, man.
Yo, speaking of work, awesome. Man, did you see this there's a Kentucky woman that quit her job after winning like a lottery.
Yeah.
Right? So right away, what are you thinking, like money wise?
Oh, it's got to be double. It's got to be like double digit millions.
So like 10 plus
minimum, yeah. Unless you live in Alabama, then it's 50K.
I wish I knew where this was.
I know where it is. Go ahead.
Won 90K, and so she quit her job. And I'm like, how much are you making that 90K goes, yo, I made it?
Yeah, yo, not for nothing, but if you make minimum wage, 90K is a lot of money.
Well, minimum wage at what, 15 an hour?
No, is it? Not federally.
It's fucking close. Oh, no, hold on.
I thought it was like $7.
No. I'm pretty sure federally it is 15.
Is it?
I want to say everybody else has time to catch up.
Let me see.
Yeah, check it out.
Federal, bro. I thought it was like $8. I mean, and maybe you're right. Maybe it kicks in like.
No, I thought federally is already at 15, and then they're giving the states like time to catch up. So like here,
it's $7.25.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying I thought it was super low, and it's going up. So it varies by state, obviously, but the federal minimum wage is $7.25. Florida, which is where we are, it's $12. Effective 9/30 so of 23. So
and I'm pretty sure that there is like a plan in place to get to 15.
Yes, you're right about Florida.
Right?
Yeah. Because everybody has to catch up to like Disney or what Disney's minimum wage I think is like 15 now or something like that. And everyone's basically, but $7.25, bro, is the federal minimum wage right now.
I thought when they put that in place that the federal thing went to 15.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I go through. No, you could be. I do remember hearing something like that, and I couldn't remember if it was in our
But
state.
even if you're 15, that's probably what, 32-ish?
Yeah, it's
a
about
year,
30,
right?
31,
if you work 40 hours a week.
Yeah. So I could see $90K. You could take fucking 3 years off of stocking shelves at Walmart. Fuck yeah, bro. And this bitch is in Kentucky. It's not new.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's in Kentucky, bro. You can live like a decade off $90K in Kentucky. You just got to feed you and your horse. As long as you ain't got like 15 kids, you can have 9 and still get away with it.
Let that bitch go.
He'll win a couple races for you, bro. He'll keep bringing some income. She won $90K. I remember reading an article. It's a chick from Kentucky. She won $90,000 on like a scratch off or like a lottery ticket.
Yep.
And she quit her job. Which that just speaks to how much you hate your fucking job. The $90K will make you quit.
So how much for you?
To quit my job?
Yeah, to quit your job. To stop. No, fuck that. To stop working. Period.
Oh, stop working. Period. The number's high. But
all right. So just
quit my job
to quit
today,
your job today.
I would quit my job today with $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah. Like,
so you would like walk in tomorrow and just be like, all right,
yeah. If I had $1 million in the bank, yeah, I'd quit.
So then it has to be like, it has to be a mil cash.
It has to be a mil cash. Yeah. Like I could, because $1 million assets doesn't do it. Like you'd have a different attitude, but it just wouldn't do it, right? But $1 million cash, yeah, I would. And then all time, and remember we used to joke about this shit all the time when we used to play the fucking crazy Mega Millions as bro. I'm getting older, but also I'm still young, right? Like I'm not 40 yet.
No, you're still young, bro.
So it would be like, is 10 million okay for me to quit forever? Maybe a 9-to-5, but I'm making that 10 mil work for me somehow, whether it's like purchasing a business or whatever. But like, because to me, I go, yeah, there's something that the freedom buys you of not having to work or report to someone, but I don't want to live like someone who works a 9-to-5 either.
Right.
So it's there's that balance.
And
there.
not for nothing, bro. Turning 50 in a few days, it's like 40 is still young as fuck, bro.
Yeah, dude, I feel, don't to say, like the 50 to me still feels young. The 40 to me still feels young. Like man, to me now, really, when you start getting into like maybe your mid 60s is where you start to go, just because of the advancements in medicine and diets and, exercise and all that stuff. Like, to me, we're all kind of a little younger now for longer.
Oh,
you could be in your 60s and still, like, I've met some people in their 60s lately where I'm like, good for you, man. And it's inspiring because you're kind of like, man, I'm in fucked up shape compared to you. Like so I don't even look at it as old anymore. Like you said, man, we used to look at 50-year-olds and go, man, you're fucking about to die in a week. But I don't, the amount of money, man, that you would need, because I think there's a difference. I think you could be any age with $1 million and make it work and live off interest. But you go at $1 million in an index fund or even living off some interest at a very high yield savings account, you're basically living off minimum wage. But it's like, I'm living off minimum wage and I don't have to work for it, right? So that's fair. That's fine. I get why people would want to do that. But I also do go, I don't want to live like someone who does work on a budget with 10 million. Like, sure, I have the freedom to do whatever I want, but I also have a lot of time to spend a lot of money. And so I think people have to factor that in. Like, when you sit around all day, you're deteriorating health-wise unless you're like super disciplined. You're deteriorating mentally. So I think I factor all those things in. It's like I think I used to say like 50 to 100 mil to quit, and this was like when I was in my 20s.
Nah, I think you was like 30.
Yeah, and I was like, I need 50 to 100 mil. Bro, 20 mil is a great weekend. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like, I know it sounds like a lot of money to most people, but I think
it is a lot, bro.
if I want an extra $1 million cash, I told you I'd walk away today from the current job, but I'd make that do something else. But I couldn't retire. I'd have to make it work for me. Dude, when I think about just from a financial standpoint of what I spend today, like in my bills and all that stuff, I'd spend $1 million in 5 years. Like 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
If I kept my bills consistent with where they are today.
Right.
I'd blow through $1 million in 5 to 7 years, something like that, right? Like you go,
so you can't.
So I can't. I'd be 43, you know what I mean? Like, and blow through $1 million, assuming, no gains from it. But I don't want to live like someone like that, right? And so you got to factor in, like, what kind of lifestyle do you want to live? What do you want to do? Like, no one wants to be retired and pinch pennies. Like, that's not the goal, right? Like, the goal is to be retired and
be comfortable.
Yeah, you don't want to fly private, but you also want to be comfortable and be able to go on vacation and enjoy that. You want to be able to, do things, have brunch with your friends, or bingo nights and gamble like a degenerate. I don't know. Whatever your thing is, like, you don't want to pinch pennies, I think, in retirement. Like, it just, I don't want to anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
I think I could definitely stop with $1 million. And I mean everything.
For life?
Yeah, just because you go, okay, well, here's what I have already. Mm-hmm. And then you just take $1 million cash and throw it on top of that.
Yeah.
Then, yeah.
Yeah, see, I couldn't do it. I factored in what I have already.
Because you figure everything that, like even like homes and shit like that, like it's all paid. And then the rest is just, you just live off of it. So maybe 2 would be really comfortable. But 1, I could probably quit.
I'm also self-aware enough to know.
I think
like
one is the minimum. I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. It ain't even so much. Man, it's weird because it isn't even so much branding. But I am one of those people who, like, if I'm gonna buy something, I want to buy it once and buy it could be anything, right? Like it could be this table, and I'd do the research and I'd do whatever, and I'd be like, I could spend $100 on this table and it'll last me 3 years. I could spend $1,000 and it'll last me 20, and I'll do the math and be like, all right, which one does it make sense? Like I'm one of those people who likes to make that purchase once and not have to, like, definitely there's shit that I'll splurge on, but there's also the things where, like, you remember, maybe you don't, but like as a kid, like if you would get like Payless shoes and your parents would be like, oh, it's the same thing as the Nikes, and you're like,
no, it's not.
And you became an adult and you're like, it's most definitely not, like.
Nah, even as a kid, you was like, no, it's not.
It's not. It's like I would, but as a kid, you have sort of the brand loyalty of it all, but then you go, as an adult, you go, no, I could spend $60 and those might last me 6 months as a kid, right? Or a year. Or I could spend $15 on the Payless ones and it lasts me a month. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the math doesn't add up. Like,
you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. And I'm very much one of those people. So I don't know. I'm going to need a lot. I don't want to live like I live today. I want to live better.
You want to live better?
I mean, I'll live like I live today without working, sure, but the goal ideally is to be in a comfortable spot, or I guess to just have more time to think about other shit to do to generate income. I don't know.
All right, man. Yo, talk to me about this Megan Thee Stallion. What's going on with her,
bro? Did you see this story about her photographer or whatever he is, man?
Briefly, give us a story, man. What's up?
So this guy who was a photographer, I believe, for Megan Thee Stallion, is suing her now for, I don't even remember what the exact lawsuit is, but there's some sexual harassment type shit in there. There's some uncomfortable, and this all stems from, he's saying, when he worked for her, he was forced to watch her have sex in like a limo or in her cars or do raunchy shit.
Right.
And he was wildly uncomfortable with watching her do this kind of stuff. Mind you, this is like a few years after he's no longer working for her. But also, you cuck, bro. The fact that...
Aren't you trying to see that WAP?
Yeah, like Oprah ain't making you watch her figure. He's saying like she was like making out or fucking chicks in her car or a limo, whatever the fuck she's driving, the Escalade. She's like making out, doing shit like overseas. Like he has these really vivid, crazy stories of shit she was doing with other girls.
Yeah.
Making him go like, yo, you didn't see shit and whatever, yada yada yada, and he's claiming he was traumatized. Like, you watch Meg Thee Stallion finger bang some fucking model in Amsterdam and you're traumatized. This is why we can't have nice things, bro. I fucking hate the world we've become, bro. I hate everything that we've become as Americans, bro. I hate what we become as dudes. I hate like all this shit. Meg Thee Stallion can't finger another chick in peace without getting sued. I fucking hate it here, bro. I hate it here so much.
Dude, and you see that more and more, man. You saw with the Diddy shit, right? Where even guys will
let Diddy play with a booty hole if it's consensual. Damn.
But even it was, I forgot who it was, man. But it was a guy who came out and goes like, oh, you know, like I didn't get paid or whatever, and it was like, no, bitch, you were living for free in his mansion, and living off his fucking dime, and
that is payment.
Listen, that is a form of payment.
That is a form of payment, yeah.
But we are in this space, bro, where it's like somebody who has money, and then if you whether you did business with them, work for them, what have you, and then you don't anymore, that you get to go back and go, oh, well, they made me feel bad.
Yeah, like the guy with the Meg shit, I go, you worked for her for years. Yeah. And then now you're suing.
Now
what the fuck happened?
Right, what happened?
Like, listen, man, jokes aside, okay, she did, quote unquote, some uncomfortable shit in front of you. Then just fucking quit right then and there.
You could have, you could have stopped right then and there, man. And then you could have stopped and sued her right then and there.
Yeah. I'm not buying that shit, man.
Yeah, now when you come back afterwards, man.
Also, again,
this doesn't mean too shit, bro.
This is like getting sucked off by your fucking high school teacher, and then you come around later on, you're like,
I'm traumatized.
I'm traumatized. Like, no, you weren't. That shit was awesome. No, you weren't. The fucking bro who watches Meg Thee Stallion fucking another chick and goes, I really wish I wasn't here right now. I guess if you're into small chicks, you're like, oh, she's a little big for my liking, but she's a little tall for my taste.
Well, maybe Megan liked them small too.
Maybe you felt sorry for the little chick. You're like, oh, she was really uncomfortable.
Megan was slamming the hell out of that shit.
Like, I get why they call her a stallion. This poor little girl.
You should have seen us after that.
Her index finger was like a thigh on this little girl. I felt so bad for her. Like, then I'd be like, all right, maybe you got a case. But seriously, I'm trying to think of who the fuck would make me sue if they watch me finger bang somebody else. Like, the women. Like, go through your mental Rolodex right now. What women would have to finger bang another chick in front of you or eat them out, whatever the fuck they're doing in the back of a limo, that you would go, I am so traumatized right now, I would need to sue. Bro,
I'll wait.
I'm thinking of ugly bitches, and I'm like, I wouldn't look, but I'd be like, do y'all?
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know where are these people from.
No, who, bro? Nobody, bro.
Nobody. Because I don't really care that much,
bro.
either right, like either you're watching because you're interested in. Well, fuck. I feel like even if it's a train wreck, I'm watching.
Bro. Betty White could be eating the dust off of Barbra Streisand, and I'd be like, that's crazy. I'm not suing.
Why does Betty still have the diaper on?
I'd be like, Betty, circular motions with the tongue. You'll get better results.
Betty, let me show you how to do that. On second thought, no.
Barbara, spread those lips. It's getting dried out. Bro, it's so fucking crazy. I'm like, yo, we're so soft. I hate men in this generation, and I hate them all. It's like we're so fucking soft.
Dude, man.
This is why we can't have nice things. It's like, bro, of all the people, dude, it's just.
You know what's funny, man? You say that, like, the generation difference, right? Like, we both have teenage kids, and my boys, and my oldest boys are older than your kids. But I talk to them, if they have like whatever girl problems or whatever. One of the things I talked to one of my sons about this week was like, yo, I'm so glad that I don't have to deal with the social, or I didn't have to deal with the social media aspect of being a teenager.
Yeah.
You know, and like, not just what people will post about you or whatever, but even from like a girl aspect, right? Where you go, these girls in high school are posting themselves on social media and already getting the attention, right? From people they don't even know.
Well, attention is the currency now, right?
Absolutely.
The highest form of currency now is attention.
Yes. Yeah. And so you as a guy trying to date, you know, trying to have a girlfriend or date a girl, you're battling against the attention that they're already getting and that they'll still get while they're dating you.
Yeah. Dude, if you're a man now, this is why I get like, especially if you're a man dating an attractive woman, you have to worry about her getting, I don't want to say worry, but you're thinking about her getting hit on in public, right? Like when she's out. But then the internet and social media has made her accessible to everyone, right? Like it's why you know more girls now who are sleeping with athletes than anywhere else, right? Like we all know a chick who's banged some NBA guy or an NFL guy or whatever because it's so accessible now, right? And so as like a regular everyday man, you're no longer just competing with like another everyday regular man. You're competing with all of them, right? Like if you're a guy now, your girl can get in touch with LeBron James or whoever the fuck, whoever, like some NBA guy, some NFL guy, some movie star, some whatever, like easily through social media. And if she's hot, she's gonna get the attention. Yep. And so you have to be so comfortable dating a hot chick that like, and you're no longer just competing with other guys like you. You're competing with all of them, which is, man, it's gonna be interesting to see like what happens a decade from now. When like I'll hear from girls who are like super attractive who they're like, no, I never get hit on. I'm like, yeah, because most dudes are fucking intimidated to hit on you because most dudes have grown up in this generation where they're competing with the world. They're not competing with the fucking guy in your class or your job or whatever. Right. They're competing with everybody. Like the balls you got to have now as a guy to hit on a hot chick or, you know, like take that shot. It's like, oh, she's getting hit on by everyone, and some of them don't even know it. They're just like, oh, no one hits on me. It's like, no, everyone hits on you. And then if you're not getting hit on at Publix or wherever, it's because they're too intimidated to talk to you because you know, like we've all talked to people who are like we've all known guys who are like, man, I want to talk to her, but I don't know how to do it, right? Yep. Like everyone isn't built the same. Like some dudes are just shy or whatever.
Absolutely.
Like, and so I think it's a very different, I don't want to say competition now, but it is a very different. Dude, matter of fact, this is a perfect like segue into Kaká, the soccer player. Okay, we were talking before. Kaká's wife, he's been divorced for almost a decade now. I think 2015 or 16. Okay, but his wife is just now coming out in like all these interviews. I don't know why.
Now, so who is he?
He is a soccer player. He won the playing for Orlando City. Okay, but in his prime, he played at somewhere in Italy. I think Juventus. I don't even want to take a shot, but he was a superstar, bona fide superstar, world class, you know, soccer player. Yep. Not Messi, obviously, but you know, like that next tier. Yes. I guess below Messi. And his wife, who was like his high school sweetheart or whatever, they got divorced. And so she's come out in some interviews recently where they've kind of asked her about it. And she was like, oh, you know, they're like, they assumed like he must have been a scumbag. He's a pro athlete. He's this and that. And she goes like, nah, man, actually, he was the perfect husband. She's like, yo, he provided for me. He took care of me. He gave me a great family. Obviously, he makes a lot of money, you know, this and that. She's like, I was just bored. And so I left them.
Bored of what?
Just bored.
You know, it's funny, man. It's like, what? So then it just begs the question of like, so then what do you want? Right? If you go, here's a guy, like he's good looking, he's in shape, he's got money, he's a good dad, he's a good husband, right?
Yeah,
so there's your top five, right? So all of that.
She said all that. But
so
he was bored. He was boring. Wow. And she even went like, he was too good to me. I didn't deserve that.
Ooh, so then that's a self-esteem issue.
I don't, man. I mean, I thought this bitch was crazy initially.
If it's true, if it's true that she feels like she doesn't deserve it.
So I thought this was true, like, or not. Sorry, not thought this was true. My initial reaction was like, we're all fucked. Like, if I can't compete with a fucking world class athlete who is gonna be top whatever, 50 of all time in his
Yeah.
respective field or whatever. Like, you go, if he doesn't have a shot, it's kind of like when Beyonce got cheated on, people were like, I couldn't believe Beyonce got cheated on. It's like, I could.
Yeah, I could.
Like,
yeah.
It's like, yeah. But it wasn't so much, like, when I sat and thought about it, it wasn't so much the, like, man, what does she want? It actually made sense when she was like, oh, I'm bored. Because I can understand
That
the
part makes
concept.
sense.
No, but I think as a guy, you can sort of ration out to the concept of, hey, she's a good mom, like, hey, she's good looking, hey, she's XYZ. But I think we can all, I don't even say as a guy, I think as everybody, you can relate to like I just want some excitement. I
Right.
want my girlfriend, my wife, my boyfriend, my husband, whatever, to like spice shit up in whatever fashion. I think we just like
It's the excitement.
yeah, I think we like the excitement, bro. Which is why I think the whole like concept of like you never stop dating whoever you're with.
Right.
I think that's where this falls into, right? It's like you can fall into the monotony of being like a family, but I think if you're not talking to your significant other, like you're still dating them or trying to pick them up or doing things like that, I could see this where she's going like, yo, it's irrational. I'm just bored. And I kind of respect the honesty of it all because we're all looking at her like, yo, she's fucking crazy, but from the outside looking in. But I think if you take a step back and you remove sort of like the financial aspect of it and maybe the fame and whatever else, and you just looked at her as like the fucking housewife down the street, you would go, I get it. Like you could totally understand that. And for some people, the trade-off of being with someone like Kim is worth it.
Right.
But for her, she's like, whatever her thing might be, bro, she might want the dude to pull her hair and bang her into the fucking mattress, like, and maybe he's a boring like it's literally that probably simple, right? Like, or she might want the bad boy, quote unquote, or the guy who's a mixture of both, or you know what I mean? Like I the concept of someone being too nice is fucking very plausible to me.
Now, what I'm wondering is, so then, because this is what you said, like 8 to 10 years later.
Yeah, I think they got divorced in 16 or 17, something like that.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's so let's just say if it's 16, it's still 8 years later. Did she get paid? And then now is right, and then now right. You figure if
I'm sure she did. Yeah.
Well, you said they had kids together.
Yeah, they had kids together. They
So
had a
she
full
probably-
family.
she probably got-
dated
she probably
him for
got-
a very long time.
She probably got alimony. She probably got child support.
Yeah.
And then now, obviously admitting those things when it probably doesn't matter anymore. She's probably a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
On,
she is.
on,
yeah.
on her own. But fuck, man, like you look at that and you go, the guy, she's admitting the guy did everything right.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough.
I think the problem is we get caught up in the guy did everything right versus the guy did everything right for me. And I think
For
that's
who?
the
Who the hell is
differentiator.
me?
Her. I think that's the differentiator. It's like, hey, on paper, if you said your husband does XYZ, your wife does XYZ, and you'd be like, yeah, sure, that's cool. I think we sort of tend to neglect, and this happens with a lot of marriages. Like, I think, like you'll see it all the time when like people get divorced and people are like, man, I never saw them argue. And it's like, I think people neglect this aspect of like,
they didn't care.
yeah, and that's part of it, right? Like if there's no passion there where
Right.
you're like arguing, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I think if there's no, dude, I think we let go of or we sort of bypass this product of like, there's a passion that goes into, obviously there's healthy toxic and healthy like arguing and all this shit. Like you shouldn't be in relationships like that. But I think I think about this all the time. If you're not a little bit jealous of your spouse, if she's talking to like say your wife, if she's not talking to a guy and there's not a little part of you that wants to fucking choke him because she gets a little smiley,
Right.
I think there's something wrong with that. Like the
Yeah, I can
older
see-
I
yeah, I can
get,
see
I
that.
go,
Yeah.
I think you should want that feeling of like there's a healthy jealousy and so I can understand like that aspect where she's just like, yo, he was perfect, like he checked the boxes, but I just wasn't feeling it. I get that.
Right.
It sounds fucking crazy on the headline, but I go, if you take a step back and you look at the human element of that, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like I get it. Like you want someone who excites you all the time. And now that's not to say that she might be 50 or 60 and maybe she has regrets. I don't think she will, because I think on paper, again, she's going to say, man, I had this perfect person, but I wasn't feeling happy. And I think that's ultimately what matters to her. And maybe she'll never find that feeling.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as absurd as like the headline made it sound.
Yeah, no, and I do hear you. Like that is it is true, right? Like when you're married for a long time, some of that stuff, some of that sort of excitement does go away.
Yeah.
Things become monotonous after a while. But I will say like as much as conflicts don't interest me, the occasional argument helps.
Yeah, it tells you give a fuck still.
Yeah.
I think you can apply that to everything in life, not just
and even though when you're going
relationships.
through it sucks.
It's fucking stupid.
And
Yeah,
sometimes you go like, fuck, man, I've been married for X amount of years, and or we've been together for X amount of years, and we shouldn't be doing this anymore. But like there's something to that makeup sex,
dude. You
know what I mean? Like there's something to that.
To me, the worst thing is not caring enough to argue, right? Like not even caring enough for the argument. Like you said,
right.
That fight can be healthy because it sort of proves to you that you still give a fuck, right? That twinge of jealousy can tell you like, yo, I still really like this person. I kind of want them for me. That like that desire to like, again, be sort of all in or be obsessive. I think like too much of anything is a bad thing, but I think there's a healthy amount of that sort of forces you to work on things or want to work on things and all that. And so like I would say like to me, the worst thing you want is someone who like doesn't care to argue with you. Because it's like there's no interest in you whatsoever. Like if you don't even care enough to argue, you just don't care enough about that. Yeah. Like and that can apply to everything. That's not just relationships, but it's like I'm very complacent when it comes to a lot of things. Where I'm just like, man, I don't give a fuck about that. Like it's not the hill I'm willing to die on.
Right.
And I think if you're willing to do that on relationships, you don't give a fuck enough about them. Like yeah.
No, that's good, man.
It's kind of wild, man. I don't know. But that headline was like. This weekend, I or like maybe for the last 2 weeks, I saw it and so many people were talking about it, and my initial reaction was like, man, we're all doomed. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, that makes sense, man. She's a person like the rest of us. We just have to remove the fact that her husband is who he is, and just understand that like we're all in the same boat. I think when it comes to relationships or even our interests with people as friends. Like you think about who you let into your circle as a friend.
Yeah.
And we have requirements, right? We have things that we want.
Even if you don't know what they are.
Yeah. We just don't make the time for you.
Right.
Right? And it's the same thing. So yeah.
No, so true, bro. Dude, let's talk NBA, bro.
Oof.
NBA playoffs going on right now. Dude, first of all, the first round's over. Loving this NBA playoffs have been a good mixture of. They feel like 90s basketball.
Oh, the physicality
of it, man. The way that everybody's just playing. I mean, typically they play hard anyway, but the physicality of the game. You have some of these renewed rivalries, like the New York Indiana. Series that's going on right now.
So reminds me of the 90s.
It does, bro.
Yep. 2000s, yeah.
And then even the mid 90s, bro, with that was the Reggie Miller Pacers against the Patrick Ewing Knicks.
Yeah.
But we have some other like young stars rising, man. You got the Minnesota Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards. You got OKC with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And these guys, like, dude, and then you got Dallas in there with Luka.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, man. I go, and I asked this question to my son, who's big into basketball. I'm like, if you're starting a team right now, who is the first player you're picking?
Man, I'm a prisoner of the moment, maybe. And a month ago, I would have said Luka, but it's hard not to pick Anthony Edwards today. And that might be just, again, prisoner of the moment. The recency bias of it all because he's
also the media. Have you seen how many commercials this guy's in?
Oh my God, bro! And he was in that movie on Netflix a couple of years ago, which is great. The Adam Sandler movie.
The Adam Sandler movie, yeah.
which made you kind of hate him. But
Yeah, he played like
he played kind of
a
villain.
bad guy. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's such a fun basketball player, dude. I think the other part that he's not huge by NBA standards, and he plays big. He plays above the rim. He's like, he's like 6'4". That's not a small guy, but by NBA sort of like high flyer, dominant stand, that's not big. Like a 6'4", guy playing the 2 guard or like,
Yeah.
that's undersized. And he's obviously on the thicker side, and he's so fucking fun, man. He finishes above the rim. He's got the swagger of, he's got the shit talk. He's got like, and obviously the game to back it up. Dude, the thing about him that is the scariest is that I know he gets a lot of comparisons to Jordan right now. He has,
And rightfully so, by the way.
yeah, no, absolutely, from an athletic standpoint and even the looks or whatever.
Well, not only that, man. I think it's his. He has, or he appears to have that killer instinct.
Yeah, where he wants the ball.
He wants the ball. He wants, and he wants to go against the best, and he is at his best in the moment, so he needs to be. You know what I'm saying? And he talks that trash, and you know what I'm saying? And he has that like that. But the thing that we've always missed about LeBron, which I love LeBron, bro. I love that. Probably I gotta probably say at this point in my life, man, probably my favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
But
it's hard to hate on LeBron, man.
but the one thing that I always felt like LeBron was just missing was like that killer instinct.
But I also think that is Jordan's fault. Jordan is the reason basketball kind of got mid a little bit after him too, man. Is that everyone wanted to be a guard that could score, and that wasn't sort of the norm for that position, right? It was
No, at the time the centers ruled.
Yeah, right. But being a point guard or a 2 guard was more John Stockton and Jason Kidd and that sort of style. Where Jordan,
Yeah, but those two, I mean, Stockton and Kidd were points.
yes,
the point guard,
but
right?
so was Jordan. And then Jordan wound up as a 2 guard. I think
He's at a 2. Yeah.
But I think my point on that was like Jordan was like the 2 guard who just kind of took over the game and scored, and you wanted to shoot, and like it didn't become about passing or playing fundamentally right. It became about taking over the game, like as a one-on-one individual, right? Like Jordan, for all his sort of accolades and how good he was not yes,
He's a ball hog.
He's a ball hog. He was very Kobe, right? Like, just give him the ball and get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
Right? I think we expected that from LeBron, I guess was my point. And LeBron was more of a pure basketball player where he was, from an IQ perspective, he was going to make what he thought was the best play.
Right.
Not what was the best individual play.
Right. And
what was the best
you're right.
basketball
and I think as fans, you go, you're the guy.
But Jordan would have taken that shot, was the comparison always.
Yeah.
But Jordan would have wanted that ball in that situation.
Yes.
But Jordan, and it was like if we took a step back and compared LeBron to, say, Magic Johnson, or compared LeBron to, say, like, hey, basketball IQ says in this scenario you do X, Y, Z, I think you have more
it's
respect
probably
for LeBron.
unparalleled.
But before LeBron, we were used to seeing Jordan, and you go, 20 seconds left, and you need a bucket? Give
That's
it to
the guy,
Jordan.
right.
That's the guy, and he's not fucking passing, even if he gets triple teamed. Like, it was just, and I think it's why, it's funny.
And how
man.
many times, you know what, I would love to see a stat that would go, how many shots did he miss?
A lot.
They're probably a lot more than he actually made.
And I also think it's why we don't discuss Kobe in the conversation for the top 2 or 3. Like, Kobe is arguably a top 2 or 3 basketball player all time. But when we discuss Kobe, we always go ball hog, then pass, then whatever. Obviously, we recognize the skill set. But Kobe was the closest thing to MJ we've had in the modern era.
Right.
But for whatever reason, it gets lost in that conversation. Like, there's so many people that I know will name top 5 basketball players and leave Kobe off. And when you look at it statistically and just as a ball player, like, to me, dude, personally, I'm a LeBron stan. I love LeBron. I think LeBron is probably the GOAT. But Kobe Bryant is the only player I've ever seen live where even sitting in the rafters, I went, what the fuck is that?
What is that? Right. It's
Like,
different.
He was so good and so different from everyone else on the court that it perked you up for sure.
I mean, we saw him here together.
Oh my God.
In the finals.
Yeah, in the finals. Dude, I witnessed him win an NBA final, an NBA championship here. And it was like watching him play, you went, that guy doesn't look like anybody else on the court or like anyone else I've ever seen play basketball ever in my life. Whereas when I saw LeBron, I went, he is dominant. And I saw LeBron play live a bunch. And I have. And he's just one of those guys where you just went, man, he looks so awkwardly dominant because his body style doesn't look like a basketball player. And obviously LeBron's good.
He's bigger than most people on the court.
He's just bigger. He looks like a linebacker playing basketball. I mean, and it's not to say that he isn't great. Again, to me, he's probably the GOAT. But there's a grace that Kobe Bryant had playing basketball that LeBron sort of lacked, that is maybe why we don't respect LeBron as much as we do. But also, we don't talk about Kobe in that top 3 to 5 conversation as much as we should. Some people do, but I think in the overall arching conversation, now you hear MJ, LeBron, you hear Curry being brought up. Obviously you still see the Russell and the Magic and the Larry Birds and all that. And Kobe Bryant, it's like, oh yeah, and Kobe. And you go statistically, and when you talk about rings, Kobe has what, 5? You talk about
It's at least 4, right?
yeah, dude, Kobe has that 5.
Well, he had the 3 with Shaq.
He had the 3 with Shaq, and he had 2
then-
without him.
Did he have 2?
He had 2 without him, man. So
shit.
I'm almost positive he had
I thought
2
he only
without
had
him.
the 1.
I think he had 2 without him because I think Phil Jackson had a chance to three-peat 4 times or something crazy like that with Kobe, and then he didn't win it. I think they lost to the Pistons. No, not the Pistons. Sorry. They lost to somebody. But
Yeah,
I'm almost positive Kobe has 5, man. Almost, because I feel like he won 2 without Shaq. Because Shaq won 1 without him.
Yes.
In Miami.
And he did it first.
Yeah. So Shaq has 4. I'm almost positive Kobe has 5. Yeah.
5.
And for whatever
5.
reason, man, again, we don't discuss Kobe in the top 2 or 3, or not everyone does, right? It's always LeBron, MJ, and then whatever. And Steph Curry.
So he two-peated in 9 and 10, 2009 and 2010.
And so Phil Jackson would have had a chance to three-peat 4 times if he won that three-peat with Kobe, and I think he lost in the finals. I think that was the one they lost against Boston. But Phil Jackson had a chance to three-peat 4 times, which is insane. We'll give him a carbon footprint at some point in time, but that's
when he dies.
when he's dead. Sorry, Phil. You decided to be in your prime way too early compared to when we did this pod.
But no, man. So like watching these playoffs, man. I'm loving the New York Indiana series right now.
Mm-hmm.
Boston's playing Cleveland, so I'm hoping for like a Boston New York Eastern Conference final. I think that'll be a ratings fucking
Bonanza,
juggernaut.
man. Oh my
yeah,
God.
and it's watching the Knicks in the Garden. The New York fans come out so fucking good for them, and for any New York team, and I would say like the Yankees, the Knicks, and the Giants and the Jets play in New Jersey, but we'll say Yankees and Knicks, like the city, the people in the city come out for them big time when they're good, and they have been coming out in droves. You see Yankees players there. Old Knicks players are attending the games. So those games are like super fun. Now, in the West, you got really the 2 best teams right now are like the unknowns. You got Minnesota, we just talked about Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
And then you got OKC, which even Shai Gilgeous-Alexander I would say is a lesser known player.
Yeah, no,
unless you're an NBA
unless you're
fan.
an NBA fan and you're in Oklahoma. Like, as far as the national media goes, they've done a poor job of sort of hyping this guy up. The same thing with Anthony Edwards. I would say that
Absolutely,
it is an absolute
bro.
shame that we haven't watched him play as much as we did, or that he's not a household name. Because again, to your point, watching him play, he gives you these like snippets of like Jordan-esque sort of like plays.
Dude, here's a good measurement of a popularity of a team. The state is the fucking team. Minnesota Timberwolves. They play in Minneapolis, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know for a fact.
Hope so. St. Paul, Timberwolves.
But dude, just like the Vikings, right? It's the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't it the Minneapolis Vikings? Why isn't it the Minneapolis? Like, every other team is a fucking city. Even Oklahoma City, who is not a popular, right? It's not really a popular team in the NBA.
They didn't name
Everybody else is in the fucking city. Minnesota is the whole fucking state.
It's kind of true, man. I hadn't even thought about that.
That just goes to show you that it's just like if you said the Minneapolis Vikings in the NFL or the Minneapolis Timberwolves, like, do people just not know where they are?
Is that our way to? No, fuck. Because even Green Bay, you give the city. It's a
You
small
give it
market.
the city,
it's
bro.
the smallest market, right? And we say Green Bay, even though no one can point to that shit on a map. That's interesting, man. I never really thought about that.
Yeah,
dude.
the Bucks, right?
Yeah, Milwaukee.
It's Milwaukee.
Yeah.
It's a city. Everything's a city, bro.
Fuck, man. I didn't thought about it.
In most cases, right? You have hockey has the Florida Panthers, right? Which they play like in South Florida.
Yeah,
but there's not many teams like that have the state. And I think it's just the lack of popularity.
The New Jersey Devils. Dude, and where I was going earlier with Anthony Edwards was that Kobe and MJ developed these fadeaways. This like mid-range fadeaway later in their careers because they couldn't get to the rim sort of at will the way they could early on.
Right.
Anthony Edwards, as like a 22 or 23-year-old, has that mid-range fadeaway. And it's scary as fuck because you go, oh, wait a minute. I have to defend that fadeaway. And then if I don't, he blows past me, and then it's a dunk at the rim. Yeah, and I'm sure some of that is the influence of watching tapes of MJ and watching tapes of Kobe and that sort of thing. And so he's sort of picked up on developing this little mid-range fadeaway, but it just shows his maturity level. I think is where I wanted to go with that as a basketball player and his IQ.
Yep.
Because it's very easy as a young sort of stud to go, I could just blow past everyone and dunk on them and sort of ride the athleticism. But to sort of very early on go, I need to develop this jumper as just like this weapon, this fadeaway that's almost like unguardable. And like Kobe and MJ, when they decided to do that whole like double pump fadeaway shot, like no one could block it. It was fucking, it didn't matter who you were.
But definitely later in their careor.
Yes. He's doing that shit as a 22, 23-year-old who's still in his prime athletically.
He's 22, bro.
And maybe because he's undersized. Or, again, maybe because he's seen these guys and it's influence. Dude, he's 6'4".
Yeah, but you seen the fucking blocks this guy puts on,
No,
man?
he is. He's very athletic. But, again, I'm coming from a generation where I'm watching a 6'6", 6'8", 6'10", 6'11", fucking 7'1" Kevin Durant. Anthony Edwards, by all intents and purposes, like even Steph Curry isn't that much smaller than him. I know we look at Steph Curry as a small guy. Steph Curry would tower over 90% of the mall he walked through. But in the NBA, he's a small kid. And I say kid, he's probably my age. But it's really cool to see this kid develop and the type of game that he's developed at that age. Yeah. I'm like, man, this is going to be so fucking fun to watch.
Yeah, bro. And it feels like this year is almost like the passing of the guard.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think it's like Boston's league to give away or take and Denver for that matter. Like Denver could turn into the next sort of like, dude, I look at Denver and I think of like the San Antonio dynasty. It's like, is Denver just going to win one every 2 or 3 years? And that's just what we have to sort of like buckle up for over the next decade because I don't want to call them a boring watch because they're not a boring watch. I think they just so happens that their superstar is kind of boring in his style of play.
That's what it is. It looks horrible.
Looks horrible.
His shots look horrible. He looks awkward. They just all go in.
It's not fun. They just all go in. And so Denver is sort of the San Antonio. And then who's going to be the new Warriors? Who's going to be the new like Cavs-led LeBron, which I think ends up being like Minnesota, like the athletic with the young stud who's high flying and and then who's the other team that's sort of like in the fray, in the mix every year, like maybe that's New York. Like Boston, to me, I go, if Boston doesn't get it now, they're not going to get one. with Tatum. Unless they go into full rebuild.
Yeah, they're gonna have to break that team up.
Yeah. If you don't get one now,
this is their year.
This is their year, dude. With a limping Milwaukee and
Milwaukee's
Minnesota and right, that's what I'm saying. But Milwaukee was sort of limping along.
Yep.
And you have a Minnesota and a Oklahoma team that aren't ready, I think, to sort of cross that threshold. But maybe they picked the best year to do this in because they're going to be left with nothing but inexperienced teams.
Yep.
Like you're going to be left with an inexperienced New York, an inexperienced Indiana, an inexperienced Oklahoma, an inexperienced, Dallas has sort of been there, but not really. And so it's really anybody can take it this year. Like the team that should win it is Boston. If you don't win it now, you're not going to get one with this core group. You're just not.
No, you're not.
Yeah. But man, what a fun! I ignore the first round of the playoffs typically in the NBA.
Oh, but it's been so good.
And this has been interesting. And even fucking Formula One was interesting this weekend because someone other than Max Verstappen won a race, and Major League Baseball is getting fun. It's just,
and it's still early.
It's really what a time for sport. Dude, I saw the fucking Masters. Tiger got obviously smashed, and I only pay attention to the sort of standings because of Tiger, but. The guy who won it, I'm trying to get it's Scheffler. I think his name is Scotty Scheffler. But there was a banana stat that I saw. Yeah, Scotty Scheffler, he's been ranked number 1 for 73 total weeks in golf. He's considered like the next big thing. He's sort of dominating the sport right now. Won the Masters.
And he's an American, right?
Yeah, and great, phenomenal golfer. Dude, Scotty Scheffler to catch Tiger Woods' record of total weeks at number 1. So mind you, he's already been at number 1 for 73 total weeks. To catch Tiger Woods.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Scheffler needs to hold the top spot continuously until October 21st of 2035 from today. This is how
we are in 2024.
Yes, bro. This is why.
Dude, he hasn't held it for 11 years
straight to catch up to how many times. Like this is, bro. I said that to say, like, anytime fucking golf, they did this shit with Jordan Spieth, and they did this shit with Greg McElroy, and they do this shit with fucking Dustin Johnson and all this shit. Every time someone wins 2 fucking majors in a 2-year span or a 1-year span, they're like, the next Tiger. I'm like, Tiger was such a fucking anomaly that no one has ever been more dominant at their sport than Tiger was at his. And I think the only people you can compare it to might be tennis players, might be like a Federer or Nadal or Djokovic, or maybe Tiger Woods was so fucking, dude, 73 straight. That's how many insane, weeks is that, bro? Like it's or years is that in a row? And he's already had it for 73. It's like Tiger Woods was the number 1 ranked golfer in the world.
Yeah, so it had to be
for half a decade.
Yeah, he's 12 plus.
Bro, there was
it's over a decade, bro. It's like over 12 years.
It's insane, bro. Tiger Woods was, I forget what it was, but it was like winning the Masters, or not the Masters. Sorry, the major tournaments. The rate at which he won tournaments in general was so stupid at one point in time. Like it was close to 50%, and then the rate to which, if he was within an X amount of strokes going into the last day, that he would win, because there was a mental factor of Tiger being within striking distance that played into golf. Like because it's sort of the time is, and what made me think of this was, like, I've seen interviews with his kid and how his kid talks shit about how trash Tiger is now, and you just go, not trash, but I've never seen him do anything, and you go, oh fuck yeah, you didn't see your dad in his prime. You were a baby when your dad was in his prime, and it's hilarious because you go, man, none of us are safe from the criticism of our kids and the ridicule. But
no matter how good you are,
you are. Which you go, arguably, your dad was better at his thing than anyone's ever been at their thing ever. Not just sports, ever. And he thinks his dad was like, meh. It's just insane to me. Like, like just looking at that, when of course, we're like, again, it's a recency bias. Like when that guy won the Masters, and everyone, like, I'm not tuning in to watch Scotty Scheffler win the Masters. It's like, it's just not fun to me. But watching,
I don't even know who that is.
No, and then watching his statistics and all this shit, and then I saw like what he would have to do, and then if you go, dude, there's a whole rabbit hole of like just absurd Tiger facts that makes you go, no one's ever gonna get to that ever again. There's just, I'm sure someone will, but it's gonna be such a long time.
Yeah,
because it's so absurd the level of dominance that Tiger experienced. Like his run of how many majors he won in X amount of time is so stupid that the only thing you can compare it to would be like a Venus or a Serena Williams or whatever, like or a Federer or again Nadal. Like, it's just so insane.
I wish I would have watched. My father used to watch, and I just couldn't get into the whole like, why are you watching golf? Mm-hmm. But he would only watch because of Tiger.
Dude, the only reason I'm a terrible golfer and I golf recreationally, whatever, a few times a year. The only reason I would say I've picked up a golf club was because of Tiger Woods.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I've worked with a lot of people who like obviously try to, like people who are like, oh, you have to play golf, and I'm like, the ball doesn't move. How hard can it be? Like it was just like, as someone who grew up playing like baseball and all this other shit, I'm like, this guy's a be cake. And fucking golf,
hard, bro.
It's unbelievably hard,
yeah,
and it's
hard.
Very frustrating because the ball doesn't fucking move, and you should be able to crush it right in whatever direction you want to, but. What I will say is, had I not seen someone like Tiger Woods, who not just because he, quote unquote, looked like me, because
right,
it isn't that. It's the confidence and the swagger and the like. I can't relate to a fucking country club guy who has his sweater vest tied around his neck like that. Just not me. I can relate to fucking Tiger walking down and the intensity and the fist pumping and the
he made it exciting.
Yeah, he made it exciting. He made it. He urbanized it, for lack of a better thing. He made it relatable to like the people I grew up with. The high fiving, the talking shit, the fist pump. The like Tiger Woods did that. Did he have to be half black to do that? I don't know. But it's just so happy he's half black. Maybe. It isn't that. But I know that I didn't see a lot of guys that look like me playing golf who I I can relate to that. I saw Tiger Woods do it and I went, oh, fuck, that shit looks like fun. Or, I want to go fuck up some white guy's Sunday. Like that to me was, like Tiger was just this epitome of this human being that you saw that went, oh, that is how I act with my friends, or that is how I act from a competitive standpoint, that I'm that asshole. Like, he's not likable, though. He's very Jordan-esque in that standpoint of like, Tiger Woods doesn't give you a good soundbite from an interview. He doesn't look like a guy who's a great hang. Yep. He's just so fucking dominant and such a dick at his sport and so intense. And so think that you got to respect the swagger.
Yeah.
And then you go, yeah, he's fucking Perkins waitress in a dungeon somewhere. And you're like, well, now I really got to see what you're doing, because that's kind of wild.
Now I really like this guy.
Yeah. You're like, oh, wait, what? Like, you're 50 Shades of Grey and on ugly bitches? Tell me more.
Even Tiger got his form.
Even Tiger. Listen, the goal of golf is to hit as many under fours as possible. So Tiger was very consistent from the whole way. He's like, even my girls need to be sub fours. I'm going for birdies on and off the course. Bro, the amount of ugly chicks that Tiger was is fucking embarrassing.
I need a room full of a few hole-in-ones.
He's like, the lower the number, right, guys? You're like, no, Tiger, you're going for 10. He's like, no, 10 sounds bad.
Shout out Tiger.
He was inspirational. Man. Shout out Tiger, man.
How we doing on time, bro?
Bro, we're like an hour 20 into this shit.
Oh, no.
Hour 23, yeah.
Oh, no.
It's the special 50th anniversary edition of the fucking pod. Let's go. God damn it.
All right, man. Well, then, fuck it. On that, tell them where they can find us.
Fucking Tiger Woods and Meg Thee Stallion making an OnlyFans together. We'll be in the background. Yo, we're filming that shit. We'll be in the background with play.
And I will not be offended.
And here's Tiger lubing up his 9 wedge. There's 9 iron. I said wedge. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Megan Thee Stallion got the WAP ready.
Megan got the WAP. Or as Ben Shapiro would call it. It sounds like a medical emergency there. I don't think it's supposed to WAP like that. Fucking Ben Shapiro's never had WAP in his life. It's a fucking at the Carbon Footwear Podcast on IG, the Carbon Footwear Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, at Carbon FE Pod on X, TikTok, and then all your favorite audio platforms: Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, all of it. Come find us. Tell your smart device to play us. We're on all of Geo7, Ghana. If you're in India, I know I look like one of you guys, so shout out to you guys. I'm from whatever region you want me to be from, and yeah, that's about it. Sorry, it's been a while. Hopefully, we'll get back onto some more consistency. I know we've been a little off the last few months, but I think we're back on it now.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna leave you with one thing, man.
Do it, Mr. 50. Let's go.
I read a quote recently, man. I thought it was pretty cool. It says, "Everything that you want is on the other side of what you fear." I'm gonna leave you out with that.
Yeah, photographer, Meg Thee Stallion, finger banging that chick. On the other side of that would have been your hopes and dreams, you asshole.
And as always, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.